Alright, let's finish that video from yesterday. There you go.
So this course had that, and it was like every 5 miles there was a new thing you could do, and then we went into the most fun part ever. Now, I don't want to hype this bike up too much, but it was the greatest bike ever to be created ever. It's the best. With this suspension fork, it's only got 30 mils of travel, okay? And people be like, bro, just ride a mountain bike. There's so many other reasons why this bike is awesome, but that suspension completely changes the way that this bike handles and behaves. And then I've got that dropper post. Now, the dropper post only has 50 mils of travel. There was an option for 75. I should have went with that. It was a little bit heavier, but because I've got alpha genetics and I'm 6'2", the 50 wasn't quite enough, but it was enough to get Cindy. And I am flying through this. Now, rest in peace, Ken Block, but what was going through my head here is that little like audio that's trending where he says, if you're not scared, you're not going fast enough. So then I was very scared. I was like, bro, I'm not scared. I'm gonna keep going. And this was like the best I've ever ridden. I mean, this was, I couldn't believe how in control I felt and safe. Because usually I ride really, really safe. And now, like, yes, do I crash later on? Sure. But I have ridden something like 13,000 miles per incident, which is like really low. Like, that's a crazy ratio, right? But right here, I get a little too cocky and I almost crash.
Hey, what the fuck?
Bro, on a road bike with a rigid seat post, you are eating dirt right there. But with this bike, it just ate that up, no problem. Now we need to regroup, we need to catch up, we need top 20. So let's go.
What is going on there?
Dude, this bike just eats those descents. I lost a little time on that hike bike, but we're gonna catch back up. We got it, dude. We've paced so well. I'm so on top of everything. We got 35 miles left to go. Ew.
So now I give the cows like a, hey man, not today, buddies. And I've got 3 people in front of me. So right now I'm probably 20th, 19th, 18th, something around there. Just phenomenal. That's unbelievable. Now, like, I've been on the trainer for 90 days. Outside of the snow trip that I did where I froze my wiener off and legitimately got grade 1 frostbite on the tip of my wiener, that's a story I will tell you soon. But other than that trip, I've been on the trainer just nonstop for 90 dains. And my power on the trainer has been unbelievable. Like, the gains I'm making because of how amazing the trainer is for training, trainer, is, I honestly thought, like, okay, there's probably a glitch. Something's happening. Now, this guy had an issue. A lot of people are going to have issues. I'm so happy that my issue is not taking me out of the race. So, like, positive Panda, I'm still riding. But I always think sometimes, man, Zwift power isn't real power. So yeah, am I like doing these insane, you know, I rode for 14 hours and averaged 205 watts, raw average. Okay. But that's not real. So then I came into this thinking like, well, dude, my power on Zwift and my numbers is so amazing, but what if I can't even apply that? But look at this, dude. This is not a Zwifter, right? I mean, I'm flying right now. I'm making up so much time on these little hits. And to this point right now, my normalized power is like 280 watts. My normalized is 280 watts and we're like 3.5, 4 hours in. Look at this. Yo, this Grizzle, the Cindy Grizzle, makes up 15 seconds on this guy without power. And that's last year. I would like, it was all power. Like the only time I made up time on anyone was power. I would just be power up a climb or wherever. And then as soon as we hit like a technical section, they're gone. Bro, I was getting cocky though. And I was feeling so good. I was in the flow state. Now, if you don't know what flow state is, it's where you just feel one with everything. So hippie, but man, I am on it. I'm rolling like, again, probably 17th, 18th right now. And I know for sure, because there's another really big climb, and I mean, we have like 20 miles left to ride, and I've got so much gas left. And so I feel like, dude, there's a chance that I could maybe work my way close to top 10. But right now, all I got to do is not get past, and I will have achieved my goal. Now, this doesn't maybe look like much, okay? The stabilization on the GoPro is impossibly good, and I've got it in my mouth, so you can kind of see a little bit of how the bars are jarring. But man, this is, if you go off the line, there's hidden rocks everywhere in the grass, and it's extremely bumpy. So it's like, and I'm doing 22, 25 right here, because it's sort of a false flat, and I am going between pedaling and not pedaling. But you can see these huge boulders, dude. You know how much that would yeet you? But I'm in the flow state. I'm vibing. I'm so good right now. Carbed up, fueled up, ketones, rolling, bike's great. And then I see a guy up the road. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm going to catch another guy. Oh my goodness, I'm going to catch another guy. And then, oops.
Oh, shit, dude.
So let's break this down. There's a rock right here. I pedal strike that rock.
Oh.
And it yeets me into the ground. My head bounces twice. My whole body bounces. I'm tumbling. Look at my dumb face. Oof.
No, dude, that was not okay.
Oh shit, sorry. Whoa, you got this.
Shit. Oh, dude. I lost my glasses. Shit. Bro, I've never crashed. That's the hardest I've ever crashed on a bicycle. It honestly felt like a dream for a second. I was like, am I dreaming? Why am I tumbling?
Hey.
Bro, that was... I don't even understand what happened.
So my left eye stopped working when I hit the ground.
Oh.
And so I was like, it took me a minute to sort of like, should I even continue riding? Should I pull out? Is my brain damaged? But now I'm running a brand new custom fitted 3D printed made in America helmet from CAV. This is the second ride on it. You can see this animation. This is a real MRI of the helmet. And so the 3D printing, so I'm told, allows for them to make this like internal hexagon that gives these like crumple zones and the ability to sort of mimic like a MIPS or a spin technology that disperses energy from impact. So that's the helmet, the CAV helmet. It fits amazing because it's custom fitted to your head. Cool. But did it do its job? And it's hard to say, obviously, I'm going to talk a little bit here. Like, I keep going, but I'm so worried that I'm going to hit my head again. You know, you don't want to hit your head twice. One hit is good enough. Don't crash again. So I'm sort of, actually, now that I'm watching the footage back, like, this is kind of crazy how fast I'm going after blowing my head up. Because like I said, my left eye was crossed for 5 minutes. I couldn't get it to work. It was kind of like paralyzed.
Come in, Sarah.
Yeah.
Awesome, thank you.
But the helmet took all of the blunt. Like, I didn't break a collarbone or a shoulder or a hip or anything. None of my body hurt. So then that means that my entire big ass head took the entire force. So the fact that I, one, didn't get knocked out is actually crazy. My eye came back, and look, I don't want to like flex, but your boy used to do MMA. I used to punch people in the face and get punched. I also did a lot of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and I've gotten hit in the head before and had my eye stop working in a very similar way. So I actually wasn't alarmed by that. But then I got this huge second wind. And so then I was just motoring so hard trying to catch people, caught this guy on this mountain bike that we saw earlier in the video. And the guy in the black just up the road, I got to apologize to him because I thought he cut the course. I actually took the long way around. So he actually, I thought he cut the course, and I was like, dude, you cut the course. And then I couldn't get on his wheel, but it was my bad. I took a wrong turn. So sorry, dude. I kind of like sort of talked a little bit of shit after the race. My bad. I apologize. I'm a big man for it. So anyways, my bike isn't fast in that section. So he gapped me. I was so bummed. Then I catch one more guy right at the finish. You know, it's like, dude, if I hadn't taken that wrong turn, potentially I could have gotten like 4 or 5 more people. This guy almost crashes. I go to the right. I make a huge oopsie again, hit this hole, whatever. That was 25th right there in front of me. So even after all these issues, I rolled in 26th, which I'm actually really happy about because, man, one, I could have got knocked out. I could have broke a collarbone. Tyler Williams broke a collarbone. My bike could have broke. So many things could have went wrong. They didn't. And so then I went straight to our booth to slang t-shirts, dude.
What a booth, huh?
I mean, immediately after riding 80 miles and getting 26th and crashing and all that, the response to our booth was unbelievable. And so I didn't even get out of my bibs. Dude, I stayed in my bibs till like 8 o'clock at night. The love here was unbelievable. I cannot recommend this event more.
All right, so we got 26th, which, you know, my goal was top 20, and I don't want to make vegan excuses, but like without the 2 major issues I had, definitely think I could have rolled in on top. It doesn't matter. I'm all in one piece. That's awesome. So the new 3D printed helmet, we did get a little break in there, and you can actually see, it's kind of hard to see, but it did its job. I mean, I hit my head hard. And the other crazy thing is that there's science about ketones and concussion prevention, and so I was all ketoned up. So I think that things could have went really, really bad. And it's hard sometimes when you're feeling good and everything's going great to like not look at it that way. Like, I just want to look at like all the negative things suck. But man, every bad thing that did happen it wasn't a showstopper, right? The issue that I had with the chain in the mud, I mean, guys broke their chains. So anyways, great race, phenomenal course. That is, I would say, probably the number
What's up, Oni?
1 gravel course I've ever raced. It was
Shout out.
so much fun.
Hope you're enjoying this video as much as I am.
It was like
super
you
fun.
had to have power, but you had to have skill.
And you had to be sending. I mean, it was tremendous. The booth space that we've got here has just been phenomenal. Rex came up, helping out with the booth. The guy's killing it, right? I mean, it's been, what do you think? Like, this is sick, right?
Yeah, it's awesome, man. People are stoked, and they like the product, and they recognize that we're out here to have fun and ride bikes, and yeah, it's good vibes.
If you're on the fence about coming out to the cobbler, I mean, look, if you just ride it, I mean, 80 miles isn't that bad, right? Like, anyone can really get it done. It's just gonna take you wanting to get it done, but it is so much fun. I would say, honestly, it's my #1 event in California for sure, if you can make it out here. But I'll definitely be here next year.
That's cool.
I remember being a kid and showing up to a big race for the first time. You just hear this rush of the race coming. And then it's just gone. And I just remember thinking, that's what I want to do.
We all are out there to prove something, either to someone else or to ourselves.
There's certain times where fear starts to mess with your head.
Sometimes you put your well-being behind you and you just go. It's a pretty surreal feeling.
You have to respect the speed. The track is dangerous, so you have to walk that razor's edge of what can put you in the lead and what can put you in the ditch.
I think for some athletes, it's going to be a career definer.
Gotcha.
My initial thoughts when I heard of the Grand Prix, I said, F me.
It's going to hurt no matter who you are. You only have one mission, and that's just to race as fast as you can. The prize purse for the Grand Prix is the biggest off-road purse there is.
It's easy to keep training, but can your body handle that to stay at a high level all year?
Which is crazy. Psychologically, physically.
It's definitely a game changer. There is a very different culture between mountain bike gravel and road racing.
Ooh.
I think as mountain bikers, we're extremely underestimated. It's like, oh, cute, you raced the Tour de France? Well, I'm gonna kick your ass.
Anything can happen and everything will happen in a series like this. Is there something that's valuable about the Lifetime Grand Prix Series?
Lifetime has come along and really given energy to this type of racing, the gravel racing. The value for us is putting our athletes out there. Hopefully they do well. They will, because we do have some of the best athletes in the world. We're super proud of that. That's been a part of our year.
This new series is the opportunity of a lifetime, and I've been excited about it since it was announced. Based my entire winter training around it. So having this injury happen right before the first round is absolutely gut-wrenching. Everyone's sponsors are here. There's loads of fans here. All the media is here. There's tons of expectation. The stakes are high. It's the opening round of, the biggest series the country has seen in many, many years. It's weird to be in this position, but I think it'll just leave me even more fired up to get out there for the next round.
Now you can just give it a clap. Is that your first time doing one of those?
Yeah.
I've done a few of these things before.
Am I doing this?
Just drop it.
All right, Chemo, let's introduce yourself.
My name is Chemo Seymour, president of Lifetime Events.
Wanted to welcome all the Grand Prix athletes.
This is kind of a crazy idea our crews around the country came up with last year. And so the Grand Prix, the idea was let's bring together 6 of the events that we own and produce at Lifetime. We're blessed at Lifetime and to have a bunch of really phenomenal events around the country, and we thought why not pull together a few of them, create some more excitement around professional riding again in North America.
The Grand Prix comes at a great time. Mountain biking was everything in the 90s, and then all of a sudden there was all these different disciplines. It wasn't just cross country and downhill. There was 24-hour racing, there was enduro, there was Super D. You know, the racing scattered across the US, and so there wasn't one strong unifying series.
The Lifetime Grand Prix is 3 mountain bike races, 3 gravel events, 30 men, 30 women, $250,000 prize purse. We're just excited to kick this thing off and see where it goes. There's this resurgence of both professional and mass participation cycling happening right now in North America, and we thought let's give some athletes an opportunity to potentially make a living as a professional cyclist again.
The Grand Prix is the coolest opportunity that I've ever had as a racer, and I think many of my peers would say the same. It's the biggest, most hyped race series that we've seen in the United States in quite a few years.
We designed the series to really test the limits of all of these male and female athletes.
I think it's awesome. They're going to mix mountain bikers, they're going to mix track cyclists, they're going to mix triathletes, roadies, and throw us out into the trails and say, go, good luck.
Parity was a non-negotiable from the get-go, providing equal opportunity, equal prize purse, equal distances, same start line, same media opportunities.
We're loving the fact that, you know, nobody is super comfortable on every single course that we've got in the series.
There's always been a bunch of great events in the States, but to pull them together, and I think it is going to change the landscape for like off-road racing.
It's the next thing in North American cycling.
How are we doing over there with that course maintenance we performed this morning? All good?
Big improvements, all going smoothly.
Thank you, Erica. Appreciate that. Thank you. I apologize if I'm walking a little bit fast, but we're just trying to keep moving. Sea Otter has really become this gathering, right? And so it's families and kids and generations of cyclists. We'll host close to 75 or 80,000 spectators. We'll do 8,000 athletes. So you've really connected all the spokes of the wheel, if you will, into one gathering in Monterey every April for the last 32 years.
I've been to Sea Otter for the last 5-6 years.
This is my second time. This is my first time. Yeah, first time.
I've been coming here for the last 15 years.
Wow.
All senders, we ain't got nothing to prove, we're just out here having fun.
Sea Otter pretty much functions as a trade show. You know, it's really fun to see everybody in person, like a big family reunion.
The Sea Otter is one of the largest cycling events in the world, and more bikes are becoming about relationships.
We are with you. How about you?
Oh, look who it is. But I need to say hi to the real star.
Real star? Don't worry, I know.
If I'm going to screw Keegan at all, it's on the uphill.
Yeah. Will you just go full gas from the gun, or will you pace it like a 2-minute VO2?
For me, it's like 3 people that I will look at. Russell, Keegan, and Cole.
Yeah.
And then for
just be with them.
It's like, and I feel like I always try to like literally triangulate myself. If I can be ahead of 2 of them, then life's grand.
I do think that the Lifetime Grand Prix can change the landscape of what off-road racing looks like in the United States. Because there's big prize money and a lot of notoriety with the event, it has brought all of the best racers together. When all of the best racers come together, we elevate each other. The better the people you race, the better you're going to be.
If you want to be competitive in this series, you have to be preparing a year in advance. On the mountain bike, on the gravel bike, putting in long hours. It's a dedication. Everyone wants to win. The events last until September, so we're racing now in early April. It's a long season. How are we gonna maintain peak performance throughout that whole year?
Everyone's motivated. I mean, it's easy to keep training, but can your body handle that to stay at a high level all year?
How will the mountain bikers perform at the gravel races? How will the roadies perform at the mountain bike races?
The criteria to select the athletes, a lot of thought went into it. We took some people that had really strong backgrounds and we knew that they would be at the front end of the field. We also took some up-and-comers that we thought need that opportunity to take that first step. So we kind of have everybody from one end of the spectrum to the other. And some of the fittest, healthiest, fastest athletes can have a really bad day, and that might change the landscape for the series.
Seeing that cohesive series as this with such a high production value, increasing sponsorship, we need cohesion across the board. Is this something that you would like to see emulated, not just in a gravel or mountain bike series, but kind of across all sports?
Oh, absolutely, because you know, it helps us to plan. It helps athletes.
To be honest, I'm surprised you're talking to me at Sea Otter, because this is, on paper, probably like one of my weak link races. I figured we'd probably be talking at Unbound or Crusher in the Tusher. I'm perched over the climb of the Corkscrew, watching all the poor road racers suffer off it this morning. Full early start for those guys. And just so happens that this corner, this turn right here, is the first pinch point for the mountain bike race tomorrow. I've been visualizing it, for better or worse, the entire week, and that's the first crux of the race. You can't win the race there, but you can lose it, for sure. The course is pretty fast, honestly. There's all these little single tracks cut through these bluffs, connecting gravel road to gravel road to gravel road. And it's gonna be really important, I think, to have a really good start. And then, you know, you can use the roads later to hopefully make gains or to play catch up. Sea Otter is a pure classic cross-country mountain bike race.
They're going to take off and head up the climb. It quickly goes into single track and into the very fast descent.
It's going to be really important to get off the front early. Like, it goes from a wide car race track down to dirt, and then it goes to single track pretty rapidly within probably just over a mile. So.
The first half of this course is pretty single track heavy. The second half is much more open and has a lot more road.
That last hill coming in, it's a critical junction point. It's a long climb right before they come back in to Sea Otter to complete lap 1, and it's going to be even more critical on lap 2.
Here at Sea Otter, there's a lot of sand, a lot of ruts. It's super full on.
Again, this is a 2-lap race, each lap about 40 kilometers long.
It's a fantastic list of riders, and again, a combination of road, gravel, cross, mountain bikers. I don't know who's going to be able to win.
It's going to be interesting to see how it goes down, especially on the mountain bike, because you have roadies who are really talented, really accomplished, but maybe they've never ridden a mountain bike before. And similarly, you know, I've never even ridden 200 miles like I'm going to do at Unbound. So I think it's an appropriate challenge for all of us.
I'm thinking a lot about how the gravel background, drop bar background people are going to do in the mountain bike races, because they're not very technical. The folks with the mountain bike background aren't going to be able to use that to their advantage as much. But I'm really curious about how the style of racing is going to be dealt with by different racers.
Overall, I think the mountain bikers might have a slight edge over the gravel racers because we all have good technical skill, and it's hard to train that. A lot of us have raced mountain bikes for 10 odd years, you know, so for us, it's even on gravel, that skill still comes through when there's a technical descent.
But I would bring an advantage because of my endurance, because I train really high mileage. And it's not that mountain bikers don't, but they do generally race a shorter race. Can you also do long?
We come from racing World Cups where there's some really intimidating stuff on those tracks, and then, yeah, we're racing here.
A lot of us are going to be on the back foot here at Sea Otter, but you get to Unbound, you get to Crusher and the Tusher, Big Sugar, where there's more of a pack dynamic and a mental skill set around how to maneuver over long endurance, and that's something that road racing teaches you.
No one wants to be behind the roadies.
You bring a bunch of mountain bikers together and a bunch of gravel riders together, give them 6 events, 3 mountain bike, 3 gravel. Certainly you're going to create some competition there.
Come on, push it.
My apprehension for this series is definitely the mountain bike, for sure. I just have very limited experience in it.
Come on.
I need to get on the bike and do my best, accept where I am weak, but also understand that I have strengths that I'm taking from my road background that perhaps a mountain biker doesn't have.
The mindset is different when you go into race mode.
You're pitting the best athletes against the best athletes, which really is what makes it the ultimate competition.
So there's my 2s. You have so many different strengths, you know, girls on the road that can just climb like none other, but mountain bikers could pass them on the descent every time. And the fields are deep, you know, and so the competition is stiff.
I think the start is the most important part of tomorrow. Yeah. Did you see the videos that Dennis sent?
No.
Wow. So
Got some secret intel?
Got some intel. This is what he was talking about. Everyone.
Where is it?
This is at the start. What he was saying is everyone's going to stay on the pavement as long as they can and come in on this right side. It's going to leave the outside open. So if you line up on the left side in the grid, then you can take this line. Yeah, you'll hit the dirt sooner than everyone, but it'll be open.
Come on. Put up. Get up there.
I'm joined here in the booth, one of the pro mountain bikers that's part of the Grand Prix.
Buenos dias.
Buen día, buen día. You gotta be prepared. So I'm adding a swap box.
Payson, glad to be able to have you here. You have that mountain bike background. You definitely have gravel racing background. This is a series almost in a way tailor-made for you, notwithstanding no injuries.
Stoked. Yeah, it'll be fun to get this thing kicked off.
You had a bad crash at Mid-South, talked about your broken hand and broken collarbone. How frustrating is this? You're not able to take part of it.
Things that are going through the minds of the racers. There's a lot of anticipation, a lot of excitement.
Yeah, I mean, it's massively frustrating.
You're at the top of your game right now, so this was a big opportunity.
If they're competing in the Grand Prix, they have probably put Sea Otter as one of the most important races of the year because they know they need to get off to a good start.
I'm here at the start of the Lifetime Sea Otter Classic. We are just inside of a couple minutes to go, and you can just feel the tension sort of seep over the riders and the crowd here.
We know they're coming in motivated. There's certainly gravel riders that are looking at Sea Otter thinking, wow, this is a technical mountain bike course and I have to figure out how to make a mountain bike go on this thing. You got mountain bike riders that are licking their chops thinking this is my opportunity to take some points early in the series.
Having to start by skipping the first round isn't ideal, but I'm really grateful that it wasn't worse, and I'm really looking forward to being back. I've heard mountain bike races described as like being chased by a pit bull. Like you go as hard as you can at the beginning, and you keep going as hard as you can until the pit bull catches you or it gives up. There's no looking around and assessing and planning your attack. It's just full on.
3, 2, 1, and you are off and running. Best of luck to all of our open big riders out there.
Make sure they get a good spot because right away they're going to go along the course, they're going to turn, they're going to head up, and then there is a critical choke point, a narrow point where it's going to go onto a very narrow single track.
I don't have like the butterfly stuff. Nervous means different to me. It's more of like an anticipation and there's kind of a pent-up energy.
Right now on the front, these guys really drilling it. And to go this hard in a 50-mile mountain bike race, that's challenging.
Slipping your pedal can be the difference of getting into the single track 5th or 25th. And if you're outside the top 20 going into the first single track section, you have your work cut out for you for sure.
Look at this guy going wide.
You've already got a rider going off to the left. This is a notorious sand pit, Frankie.
One of my mottos is, stories and glories in equal measure, right? And there's always going to be something that happens in the race.
Here's the choke point right now where they're going to be getting to the single track.
Two riders off the bike there.
I think it was Peter Stetna.
Sometimes you're going to win, and that's going to be great. But if the win's off the table, if bad luck, punctures, mechanicals, crashes, whatever's happening out there, there's going to be a pretty cool story.
Not exactly the great starts that you want.
A mountain bike race never goes to plan. There are crashes, there are mechanicals, there are flat tires. Someone crashes in front of you at the start, and then you watch the front of the race just ride away.
Everyone is out there having some sort of experience.
Not waiting around, Keegan Swinson continues to push the pace. Very, very strong rider. He comes from a mountain bike background, so he's in his natural habitat.
I think that with how important this Grand Prix is and with how much publicity and media and everything around it, it's pretty easy to get caught up in the nerves.
The women are ready to go, and here we are at the start.
What I've learned in cycling is you do race on your own.
2, 1.
But we are underway. The riders fight for position, and Alexa Scarda in that cross-country marathon Stars and Stripes jersey doing a fantastic job.
It's a stacked field for the women.
So much of being a successful racer is being able to let yourself off the hook when things don't go your way.
Talked about the sandy, dusty turns are going to prove difficult for many of the riders as they come flying in here.
Because things won't go your way a lot.
Oh, that is Ruth Winder.
Yeah, and Ruth, a fantastic road rider.
She went down hard.
If you get hung up on that, it can be hard to be successful in the future.
Here comes our women. Alexa Scarda's been staying on the front.
Big crash.
Hannah Otto sliding out there and going down.
Bouncing back is so key, especially in a series like this.
That's Mariah Wilson on the front, bringing the lead group of 4 women into the start-finish. So finishing lap 1 of
the mountain bikers really dominated the front group. Sounds like there's some carnage. Pete went down. I saw Hannah had a big crash. So yeah, eventful as everyone anticipated.
Lap number 1 completed, so 25 miles to go.
When you fall short of your expected race result and you underperform, it's disappointing.
We've got the women's field breaking up, the men's field breaking up with some significant time gaps.
But it's just wasted energy to sit in the past. It's about looking forward.
Finsterwald, Keegan Swinson, Alex Wild, they look incredibly strong right now. I don't know if anybody's going to be able to bring them back.
Highlight all the things that you did well and make sure you keep doing those things so your next performance is better.
So they know 20 minutes of racing, they have one more big climb, they have a downhill, they're making their way towards the Sea Otter Laguna Seca Raceway to try to be able to battle it out to see who's going to finish.
Expectations are really hard.
We've got our chase group is now 5 strong, so we've got Andrew Lesperance, Cole Patton, Lance Eby.
Maybe because I'm a younger rider, I don't have many expectations from other people, which can be an advantage for me. But it's hard. We put a lot of pressure on ourselves. We, of course, want to win everything.
I love competing and I love mountain biking, but I think I love to win more than all those other things. Like if I don't, then you go, what did I do wrong?
This is where you can find that if your nutrition, your hydration was just a little bit off, it can make all the difference.
There's always a reason. Sometimes it's just because you weren't stronger, sometimes it's because you made a mistake here, or maybe you didn't have the right nutrition, maybe you ran the wrong bike. Like there's so many things that go into winning, and everything kind of has to fall into place in order for it to happen.
Keegan Swinson attacks. He had a 15-second gap over Russell Finsterwald. So Swinson going away by himself. Our top 3 have completely blown apart.
I aim to try and win every round.
Keegan Swinson coming around that final turn. He had broken away. What an incredible ride by Keegan Swinson.
To be able to come in solo must have been a really amazing feeling.
Yeah, definitely the best way.
Swinson in first, Russell Finsterwald in second. Alex Wild has come across also, going for 4th place now.
We're going to see an exciting sprint here, Frank.
In this Grand Prix, I don't think it's ever over until it's over.
Right now, our lead women coming through right there, and Mariah Wilson pushing the pace. Alexa Scarda, she is a climber and a good climber, so she's going to attack on that final climb.
Anything can happen.
gosh, the speed just dropped there on this climb. This is where Keegan Swenson made his move to win.
And I think everything will happen.
Scardo's starting to struggle.
And it even looks like Sophia's starting to struggle.
Sofia Gomez-Villafañe, legs have blown up. Incredible. Mariah Wilson just riding away.
Man, Mariah really impressing me.
Quick look over the shoulder. She's going to see she's got a gap.
Mariah looks so comfortable.
She was second at Mid-South, second at Leadville, ninth at Unbound. So she's been stringing it together. And
I think that this is going to be her biggest win to date, her biggest time to shine. It is all Mariah Wilson into the finish, the winner of round 1 of the Lifetime Grand Prix.
With the winner, Mo Wilson. Mo, tell us a little bit how the race played out.
Yeah, my goal is just to stay up near the front as long as I possibly could and then hammer on the last climb. I rode a hardtail, so that worked out pretty well. I really put a really hard effort in at the end, so yeah, I'm stoked, I'm really happy.
Believe it or not, my ultimate goal is the same as before this injury, but I have a lot of confidence in these events being well suited to me. I have a lot of confidence in the intangibles in terms of getting through adversity, consistent results, all that sort of thing.
I wouldn't say I'm a mountain biker. I got some work to do first. So yeah, I'll just practice and get better at it.
Salvaging that result after a hard crash, I'm still in a good spot for the series.
Oh man, that was hard. Not my best day, but I still got second. You know, the women were on fire today, and
obviously, like, second, first loser in a way, so you line up wanting to win, but Keegan, he's a hell of an athlete, so we had fun out there throwing elbows at each other all day.
Finishing with a time of 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 23 seconds. Your winner, it's Keegan Swenson!
I'm fairly confident in this series. Like, I kind of know what it takes to win all the different races. The unknown is Unbound. That's the one I haven't done, and I don't know all the details. But the goal of the season is to win the Grand Prix. Coming to every race to win, and it works out.
My goal is always to win, and I am going to have a good time regardless, but I'm going to have a way better time if I win.
Your winner of the first round of the Lifetime Grand Prix, Mo Wilson!
They're fierce competitors, and I think not being on the podium is probably a bigger motivator than getting up on the podium. Having to watch their competitors is going to be a big, big motivator for Unbound, the next event in the series.
Next one. You ready?
Lifetime has come along and really given energy to this type of racing.
So the Grand Prix, the idea was let's bring together 6 of the events that we own and produce at Lifetime.
In the men's field, the mountain bikers showed up to Sea Otter. Keegan Swenson taking first place, Russell Finsterwald came in second, and Alex Wild for third.
Overall, I think the mountain bikers might have a slight edge over the gravel racers because we all have good technical skill, and that's hard to train that.
You get to Unbound, you're where there's more of a pack dynamic and a mental skill set around how to maneuver over long endurance, and that's something that road racing teaches you.
Race number 2 is here. This is one of the most highly anticipated events of the year, the Lifetime Unbound Gravel presented by Kraft.
How will the mountain bikers perform at the gravel races?
This is a chance for gravel riders to take top points to balance out the overall standings.
So nice being 200 yards from the start line. Been here since Sunday. Came early to try to get some heat acclimation. which I kind of did one day, but the weather's been weird. It's cold, it's so weird. Emporia, Kansas. The biggest, the longest, probably the most intimidating stop of the Grand Prix.
Race number 2 in the series, Unbound, arguably one of the biggest bike events, certainly in the country, if not the world. Tons of media, tons of excitement. For the athletes coming into this race, they know they're coming to Emporia, Kansas. They're gonna ride 200 miles through the Flint Hills with, I think, 11,000 feet of climbing over 200 miles. Notorious for just hellacious conditions, between flint rock that just rips tires apart to rainy conditions that can create mud and just bog them down. They can walk for miles, all kinds of variables that can impact that race.
I try not to stress too much about the weather, especially in this part of the country. It can just change so fast.
They've probably got a little bit of anxiety coming off of Sea Otter, where they may or may not have scored some decent points.
I think we're already, unfortunately, starting to get an idea of just how volatile this overall is going to be in terms of setbacks for people.
My gut is just destroyed. So I'm just trying to build it back up. I'm ready for some solid food soon. I was racing in Arkansas and picked up a really bad bug. It really sucks. I'm not gonna be able to race this weekend. I was hoping to prove myself here. Sea Otter was good. I wanted a lot more, and I made some mistakes.
Look at this guy going wide.
You've already got a rider going off to the left. This is a notorious sand pit.
I know that I could have performed a little bit better. When you take your drop race so early on, it definitely adds to the pressure.
Cast came off last week. Yeah, so I'm unchained for this race. Sea Otter, I crashed before I even got to the dirt. Someone took me out.
Oh, 2 riders off the bike there.
I think it was Peter Statna.
And apparently I broke my wrist. And knowing that, you know, I might not be able to attend all these races due to the impending birth of my children, I decided to pedal it out. I have experience with this race. Been second and third. There's 1 spot missing on the podium for me. So I know what it takes. You know, the mountain bike guys, they're going to be just fine in this, but experience does count for a lot out here.
Every one of the riders are fierce competitors, and I think not being on the podium is probably a bigger motivator than getting up on the podium. Having to watch their competitors that got on the podium at Sea Otter is going to be a big, big motivator for Unbound.
You racing tomorrow?
I'm not, but my son is.
Oh, nice. What's he doing? 150? Very cool.
18-year-old?
Yeah, so last year I flatted 8 times. I didn't think that was possible in 200 miles, but I've also never done 200 miles. Every time I came into a feed zone, they would laugh because I'd have more and more plugs in my tires, and it looked stupider and stupider, but I survived. Definitely nervous, but also I think I've learned that you can only race your bike the amount of luck you have sometimes. This event's awesome. I mean, last year was my first year, and it's so cool to almost have that traveling circus meet up and say hi, and even like the Lifetime Grand Prix has encompassed that community. That's the point of cycling, right? The community involved around the race.
Well, my first impression, I've been here for 10 minutes. It's awesome. I love it.
People like bikes a lot, that's for sure. A lot of bikes.
Participating in the 200 miler.
I'm a little nervous, but it seems like it's going to be a really fun race.
I feel good.
Excitement.
I feel good. Excitement. Everybody's just anticipation.
The 50% chance of rain.
Yeah, it looks like rain, but I mean, what can you do?
Still excited. Yep.
What differentiates racing in the United States now from racing in Europe is, in Europe, it is just professionals racing. And here in the US, most of the events that are out there, especially gravel and mountain bike races, they're mass participation events.
I'm okay with it raining, and I'm okay with it being a little cooler than it is today.
I'm here to have some fun and do my thing. Good luck to all the riders.
Yep, then pray for me.
I think it breaks down the barriers. People are on their bikes riding along with those professional athletes.
Look at all those camera lenses. Holy cow. That's something else going on with that phone. Okay. All right, guys, have a good ride.
Yeah, thank you.
The rest of us made a pact.
I know. I didn't get on that email, but apparently I'm not fucking.
That's your excuse.
I'm not enough of a threat. So when Pete rips into me, I'm like, sorry, dude, I didn't get the email.
It's such a good line, too.
Dude, it is.
I was not communicated with.
I guess I'm not seen as a threat, dude. So.
Pete seemed like he was a little bit stressed about the whole aero bar thing. He'd sent out this email and trying to get everyone to agree to not use aero bars.
Guess what? I care a lot about Unbound, and I don't want to lose it.
In mass start events like this, traditionally aero bars don't show up. They're a massive advantage. I mean, the aerodynamic difference is enormous and can literally decide the race.
In the World Tour, it was all marginal gains, counting calories, grams of weight, every aerodynamic advantage. And that's not why I came to gravel. Gravel has been more or less a rejection of that.
And I was like, yeah, sure, I won't use them. If no one else is going to use them, then I'm happy to not.
A lot of people responded. Some other people didn't respond and just said, to hell with y'all, I'm going to do what I want anyway, and maybe I can have an advantage by running the aero bars.
A few of the guys, the Dutch riders, and a couple others said they weren't going to take their aero bars off.
If one brick crumbles, the whole wall will fall.
So I kind of made the compromise and put on the little guys, which in my opinion aren't aero bars.
As long as it's a race and a career-defining race, then people are going to do anything and everything to win.
I don't know. That's what I'm using, and that's it.
Create your own plan, stick to your own plan. If you're use it because you want to use it, in a way you kind of, if you start doubting your own equipment, then you just start second guessing everything. I'm excited. Like, we don't know what we're going to get, but no matter what we get, I'm excited for it. Mud will be fun, fast and dry will be fun, so whatever we get, it's going to be a good time. We're going to head out and ride about 2 hours of the course, starting around mile 50 or 60 or so, and just head south from there.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked for this race. Unbound's one I've never done it, and it's one I've kind of been eyeing the last year or so, and I was pretty stoked to see it was part of the Lifetime Grand Prix, and it's a big one.
The goal is always to win. Keegan and I are really good friends, but I go into every race trying to beat him. He's one hell of an athlete. All eyes on Keegan in a way.
Yeah, I'm sure I'll be one of the ones people are watching out there, but you got to try and just put the pressure aside and just take each race as its own,
We have a plan to sort of work together in some capacity out there, but in the back of my mind, I'm always thinking, well, how am I going to beat Keegan?
Going to Unbound with number one plate is definitely a little bit stressful, but I think I race better with a little bit of pressure.
Keegan has a target on his back, but he's not new to that. I mean, he's been the most dominant rider in the country for several years now. That said, he's never done Unbound, and experience matters.
I've done some long events, but I've never done a gravel race this long. I think it'd be cool.
There's been a lot of talk like, oh, the mountain bikers can't race 10 hours, so we want to prove a point, and not just us, all the mountain bikers. I think when it comes down to it, we are as strong as those World Tour athletes, and I think we can prove that Saturday.
No, I think it's going to rain, and it's going to be awesome. A little water, a little bit of mud will play into the skill set of the mountain bikers a bit better, so bring it.
Really not able to push.
The big issue
2260
today is
today.
Fall River, just south of Eureka. This low water crossing is completely flooded out. The road is closed. Can't do it. They said it could go down by the time the 200s are getting across, but they definitely can't guarantee that, so we just had to make the call. Still going to be an adventure, still going to be some muddy roads, not taking out all the technical aspects, but we've got 4,000 of my babies out there on the course tomorrow. Try not to get anybody hurt.
The course, while covering 200 miles of mostly gravel, does a share of public roads and private farm roads.
There we go.
It's a tough course going south. The last couple of years, we did the north route. It's not as climby, this southern route, but when they have a climb, it's more substantial, and that's going to be a little bit of a leg breaker.
Unbound can kind of be defined into 3 parts because you have 2 aid stations.
A lot of the guys said that because of all the rain, It's very fast. It's packed.
30-ish miles in, that's when the course starts to get what we call heavy. The rocks get heavier, chunkier. It takes more power to just move forward.
So between checkpoint 1 in Eureka and checkpoint 2 in Madison, they have to cover about 90 miles without their support crew.
From that second aid station to the finish is when the race will get decided. There's less terrain to work with to pry open a gap. There's fewer big climbs. So you're gonna have to really use your head about how you want to get away if you want to avoid a sprint finish.
At mile 152 and 171, there's this high potential for mud.
This is a very tricky section of Unbound. I mean, this is crazy in the Flint Hills of Kansas.
Look at this. The wheel isn't even spin.
I know. This shit's fucked.
Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty stuck.
The grass wasn't bad.
Yeah? Did you make it all the way up here on your bike?
Yeah.
This might be the move.
Yeah. That's why I wanted to try it. So at least we know. Ride the grass as far as you can. Yeah, I mean, I thought these would be better in the mud because there's no knobs for it to stick to, but it still just sticks. I think the more space you have, the easier it's going to be to clean out. Yeah, you know?
Exactly.
It's going to be fun doing this for 10 hours. Maybe more than that. All right, well, I think mine's ready. Back in action.
Keegan says, I'm going down to a 33 CX tire.
Yeah, I don't think so.
I don't either.
I think he's running the 40 series.
Totally, but he fired everybody up and got it turning, and everybody was like, whoa, I overtired.
Yeah, Keegan's in their head already. Everyone's looking at him, so yeah. If I said that, no one would care.
Like, good luck with that.
Yeah. Have fun.
I think Keegan's strength is confidence.
Ooh, good morning, good morning.
Trade that confidence. Not
We're
in a
enjoying
common sense, but just I've done my
call of a
homework.
lifetime.
I know what I'm
In a
doing.
lifetime Grand Prix.
And I'm here to win this race.
This is Unbound Gravel.
There's certain little mind games you can play with that for sure.
Keegan and Russell, they see that some guys, like, you know, Pete maybe, kind of get in their head a little bit. And so I think sometimes they put some things out on social media. I think it's less for a competitive advantage and more just because they get a kick out of it.
It's part of the game, you know? They're like, oh, well, Keegan's using slicks. Maybe I should run slicks. I don't know, maybe they'll get in their heads. I'm confident in what I'm using. I don't think anyone else has a better setup than me. Maybe for someone else it wouldn't work. But this is basically what I'm eating for 10 hours. I think people overthink it. You just need calories, doesn't matter where they come from, just sugar.
You always this calm, cool, and collected?
Try to be.
Getting ready to start the 200 miles of Unbound. Really looking forward to the day. I have no idea what we're in for, in a way, but excited to see how the adventure unfolds. Yeah, it's kind of funny, you're for months and months, you're like, Unbound, it's on this horizon,
80.
and then all of a sudden it's here. It's like Christmas.
First aid station.
1 minute.
We're going to open the cooler. It's going to have the ice in it. We're going to throw the vest on and switch to the 2 bottles. So you're going to stop no matter what the first one. Yep. Second aid station, you're going to get 2 new hydration bottles.
See y'all at the start line.
Welcome everyone to Unbound Gravel.
30 seconds.
This is race number 2 of the Lifetime Grand Prix. It's a 6 races, 3 gravel, 3 mountain bikes, and this is the biggest gravel race of them all. The longest race of the series. This is the Queen Stage. It's the granddaddy of them all. This is like the World Championships, and for some riders, this is it. I mean, this is a big race for them.
There was a lot of excitement heading into today's race, a lot of discussion about equipment, tire choice. There's been some debate about whether it would or wouldn't rain, and the riders really just wanted to be ready for anything.
I think gravel racing has exploded out of what was originally gravel riding, and there's an important distinction there.
Founded in 2006, and the first race was only about 34 riders. Now over 4,000 riders come here to be able to challenge on the road.
Hey, what's up? What's up? Good morning. If you just joined in, this is Lifetime episode 2 on Down Gravel, following the Lifetime Grand Prix series.
Out of grassroots gravel bike riding. People wanting to just get away from cars on pavement and put a little thicker tire on and go explore and be a little bit more adventurous. And I think it's just kind of evolved from that.
Emporia, Kansas is definitely the heart of gravel, a small town here in eastern Kansas, the Flint Hills.
The spirit of gravel, you know, I think mountain bikers are kind of like, so what is the spirit of gravel?
For the jest, there is a spirit of gravel. It's what drew me to this.
The course does a share of public roads and private farm roads that some of the cars can't even travel on.
It was people who are racing bikes rather than bike racers that happen to be human, right? And the World Tour became so robotic. And it was refreshing. But there's been a flip of a switch in gravel recently, this win-at-all-cost mentality.
Mile 41 was still a big group of about 50 or 60.
I want to win every race I sign up for, line up for, and I think I know I can. So I think that's the difference too. Is I know I can win this race if I do everything right.
Peter Stedda, you're my hero! Stop, block, red!
I think we're 44 miles in. Pretty big group. They've really ramped up the pace.
They're coming up Texaco Hill.
It's deep, punchy. You can see a large group starting to separate themselves off the front here.
I see what's happening in gravel, and let's admit, I'm part of the group that's leading the change, but I think it's a natural evolution. It's becoming a means of staying healthy, staying fit, some pros being able to make a living at it, and I think there's just so much more opportunity out there.
First checkpoints are on mile 80. Second checkpoints are around mile 165. Nutrition. That really is 80% of the battle that these guys are trying to figure out, because you have to be able to make sure you can make it to the next checkpoint.
Little extended rest here. Really getting to the
20 in the lead group,
limit here.
is in there.
Yes.
So, coming
So
soon.
2 miles out, no rear wheel change.
They're supposed to be here sometime in the next 5 or 6 minutes, but we'll see.
That first aid station, that's a very stressful point because some people will race to the aid station as fast as they possibly can and forego lubing their chains, checking tire pressure, all that sort of thing.
Go Russell! Russell! Right here.
And you need to keep one eye on the exit of the aid station to see who is sneaking out, like who's getting out really fast.
Lawrence Tendam has taken off. I'm trying to be able to put some pressure on some of the other riders.
It's full-on F1 pit stops. You don't know when someone's coming out, when someone's not.
What else? Anything else?
That's it.
All right.
Go, Al. Go, Russell. Go.
If you get a little group that there's like 3 or 4 people that race out of the aid station, they can work together, and then all of a sudden you have a gap to shut down.
Lawrence Tendam has built up a lead of almost 3 to 4 minutes on a chase group of about 10 or 12.
A group of riders can ride a lot faster than an individual, and that's because you take turns riding in the wind and everyone else can draft and rest.
Maybe you sit on the front for 30 seconds, block the wind, pull off, go back, and then the next guy behind you comes up and takes a pull. And so you can maintain a higher speed.
With Keegan Swinson, Freddie Ovett, Lance Hayden, Alexei Vermeulen, Ivor Slick, Payson McClevin, they look like they're working pretty well together. They look like they're moving at a pretty good clip.
Depending on wind and terrain, you can make a lot more time on a solo rider because you're sharing that load and you can maintain a higher speed.
Come on, Lawrence! Come on! Let's go! Come on, Lawrence! Let's go! Stop!
Lawrence Tendam's out front. I think Mateo must have punctured, so he's kind of just stuck out there solo, just floating.
All right, Freddie.
What's the gap?
Couple minutes.
Quick, Peter.
2 minutes to a group of about 12 riders. So we'll see what he does. He's one of the dudes that is definitely dangerous off the front.
Sometimes, you see guys taking these flyers early on, but I think in a race like Unbound, it's so long, I think everyone's pretty scared of it, to be honest, so no one wants to really be out there alone. It just is a straight suicide move. There's no way it's going to work.
And Dom is still solo the 100 miles before the finish, and so that's going to be a pretty impressive effort if he is able to pull that off.
It's a bit of a strategy. It's a numbers game. It's like you can't catch him too fast because sometimes you want him to dangle a little bit. So you kind of like work together and be able to let him dangle for a minute, let him burn out, and then we'll slowly bring him back. And you just hope they kind of blow up.
While Lawrence Tendam was off the front solo, from these images, it looks like we have a group of 5 in the front.
Peter Stetna's in the front. Keegan Swinson is in the front group. Reiver Slick, Ian Boswell, and Alexei Vermeulen.
It sounded like Lawrence Tendam. Something happened to him. He was chasing about a minute back.
So they caught Lawrence. There's no more gap separating the first and the second groups. Right now in a great position. It's really exciting.
We'll turn the gears over. It looks like it's amazing the difference in weather. Started about 60 degrees this morning. We talked about them going out, but right now it is pouring out there. It's going to be interesting to see how the weather is going to affect the finish coming in.
No, that's not him. That's Lawrence.
When you're in a race, you make such questionable decisions in regards to self-preservation. People take risks with going too fast down a descent, with bike setup, making an attack too early.
We are back with this lead group.
So that's Slick on the back. Vermeulen's just in front of him, and then Keegan and Boswell.
One rider who I'm really kind of scratching my head about right now is Pete Stetna.
I flopped. I mean, I tried my hardest. I gave it everything.
I didn't see him at all, and so I'm not sure where he has been.
I entered the second checkpoint 2 hours to go in the front group of 5, but I was like hallucinating. And the body just shut down after that.
I mean, stress is a huge part of bike racing. I think if you learn how to manage it, then you're going to be better off. If you let every little thing get in your head, you're just going to crack.
This race is getting interesting. When we get to mile 153, that's a big road that's circled in red for a lot of people because that road is just going to be pure mud.
The rain just takes it to a whole nother level. Like, it's already a hard event. It's long. It's like rough. It's just brutal. You're having a hard time eating and drinking and all that already. Then you throw like just pounding rain into the mix, and it makes everything harder.
This is a whole different ball game here. You see riders almost sliding all over the place. Almost unrideable, Janelle.
Yeah, this is one of those low maintenance roads that had a high potential for mud, and we are seeing it now.
Look at all the mud that's starting to cake up. It's going to start kind of jamming into the areas. And this is where tire choice really is going to make a big difference.
It's just so damn long that everybody, the race winner included, goes through very high highs and very low lows, and it kind of depends on when those lows happen, at what point in the race.
I think they're just past about mile 160, but the final 40 is flatter than the beginning 40 of this race.
You're going to have doubts throughout the race, like, oh man, maybe Keegan feels way better than I feel right now. Maybe Pete feels way better than I feel right now.
4 guys hammering it right now. Just behind them
is actually Lawrence Tendam.
Dom had to be able to bridge back up a 2-minute gap at one point to be able to get up to these guys. Well, that's an incredible ride. And what you're looking at right now are our leaders, Alexei Vermeulen, Keegan Swinson, Reiver Slick, Ian Boswell, and Lawrence Tendam. And it's a cat and mouse game going on right now. Who's going to be able to take that risk? Who's going to take that opportunity to try to attack and try to get away from the other ones?
There is one hill coming into campus. I mean, if anybody's going to shake somebody, it's going to be on that little punch.
It's starting to get spicy. They're just looking at each other. Somebody's got to go here. And we see him out of the saddle. There goes Ian Boswell. Alexi Vermeulen, who's just come off of the back of the group. We're down to 4 riders.
Lawrence Tendam being the cagey one sitting on the back, maybe to take a run at them.
And there he goes onto the sidewalk, hopping off that curb. Oh my gosh, Frankie, a 4-up sprint down Commercial Street.
Right now, Boswell on the back. Boswell's going to go first. He's going to go on the right side, I think, of this guy. Maybe some guys are going to be going around the cones right now. A little bit tricky. Boy, what a surprise for him. You see people coming by at about 28 miles an hour. The leaders of the 200 now coming in for a final sprint. Swinson trying to be able to come around. It was Boswell that went first. Tendam doesn't have the legs after bridging a 2-minute gap. He's off the
Come on!
to the final sprint. Riding Unbound for the very first time, Ivar Slick has won.
Nice. Nice.
Swinson was second, third was Ian Boswell, and fourth Lawrence Tendam, and
nice.
Fifth Alexi Vermeulen. And
nice.
Ivar Slick is not part of the Grand Prix. Boswell actually is not part of the Grand Prix as well. So Keegan Swinson, Tendam, and then Alexi Vermeulen, those riders are going to go to the podium a little bit later on.
No, I'm clean again. Good job, buddy.
Poor
11
Keegan.
minutes.
That dude was the strongest today. He was an absolute hero out there. Just picking up the slack all day. Got so many freeloaders in that group. It's why we weren't bringing Lawrence back. People wouldn't rotate through. He would just pick up the slack. He's a good dude. Happy for Ivar because he's a nice guy, but he was not the strongest today. He just sat on the wheels a lot.
Nice.
But that's racing.
I think every athlete battles themselves. Sometimes you have to decide in your head, like, am I gonna be an asshole right now or am I not?
I wasn't making many friends and just not pulling through as much as I should have been, but I could tell I needed to just chill.
To be honest, I could have played it a little bit more smart. I wanted to put on a show. Like, there was a lot of bullshit talk about aero bars and stuff like that. And I decided to start without, and I just wanted to the legs do the talking, and I think I did. I put on a show and I got fourth, and I'm happy, and
nice.
You know, on to the next.
I didn't think Keegan would have the tactical mind to get through a race like Unbound. Like, it's just a long time of wearing that crown and having so much focus on you.
Happy to come on the podium here. I mean, that was a goal, and I know now he's not part of the lifetime series, so I gained max points as far as that's concerned. So yeah, it was a good day.
To win the Grand Prix, you definitely need to win a race, in my opinion. Even though the point system's close, you have to be there. You have to have your day one of those days. And it's hard when you have someone as dominant as Keegan that can make that not matter if they win multiple.
I mean, there was a little bit of drama going into this one, like, oh, the mountain bikers can't ride long and this and that. So, yeah, I mean, I'm happy to add up the lifetime riders to prove that mountain bikers can race long, and this is the longest, hardest race we're going to have all year. So, I think, yeah, definitely kind of proved the point that we can also race with the gravel racers and beat them at their own game.
All of this training that has gone into preparing for this is definitely going to pay dividends for the races that are coming later on in the Grand Prix. Now it's going to be about taking some rest. I mean, they should be good when we get ready to go to Utah for Crusher and the Tusher, which is the next race in the Lifetime Grand Prix. Welcome everyone to Unbound Gravel, race number 2 of the Lifetime Grand Prix.
These women are coming off some hard-fought results.
At Unbound, I went so freaking hard the first 3 hours. Like, I was like, I might blow up and detonate. But you know what? This is what is going to take for me to win the race, to get a massive advantage onto everybody else.
Please welcome Sophia Gomez.
your winner of the Garmin Unbound Gravel Race for 2022. What an incredible ride, all by herself for over 80 miles.
Sophia Gomez-Vichafane taking the win. Emily Newsom coming in second, 20 minutes down, and Melissa Rollins in third.
I am willing to risk losing the race in order to win it.
In our Lifetime Grand Prix overall standings, we have Sophia Gomez-Vichafane in the lead, Haley Hunter-Smith in second, and Evelyn Dong in third.
All of this training that has gone into preparing for this is definitely going to pay dividends when we get ready to go to Utah for Crusher and the Tusher.
We are now 2 races into the Lifetime Grand Prix, and Leah Davison has officially announced that she has withdrawn from the overall.
Beaver, and I was like, oh, we don't have brakes. And then I was like, oh, the AC also went out. We can get home. The circus has arrived. Okay, well, it looks like Lawrence is doing 42s. Let's see, is this Sophia's? Interesting, 38s. The only questions we have as bike racers now in my life is like, do we wear a pack? And what tires are you running? Well, my name is Sarah Sturm. My title is professional bike racer. I pedal forward. I always describe cycling as this traveling circus, and a series like this really feels like it. Hi! Like you start seeing the same people at the same races, and it's kind of nice. Hi, which tires are you running? Russell's running 38s, I don't know what to do.
Here we are, race 3, Crusher and the Tusher. It's been a part of the Lifetime family for about 3 years now. Burke Swindlehurst, in his sadistic way, created this thing. It's going to be a challenge. It'll be a different event. It's tough to say. Is it a mountain bikers event? Is it a gravel riders event?
Well, there's never a perfect decision, right?
Well, these are better because they have gum walls.
Oh yeah, then let's do that. Done. Done.
This course has 3 sections. The first climb, the middle, which includes a downhill and then a flat section, and then another massive climb.
I think what differentiates Crusher from a lot of events is obviously the mountaintop finish.
You know, 69 miles, 10,000 feet of climbing, and a lot of it is this loose, gnarly gravel.
I mean, personally, I think between the elevation gain, the altitude, the heat, the surfaces you're going to encounter and when you're going to encounter them, it kind of throws the kitchen sink at you out there. I'm biased, but I don't think there's another event on the planet that packs more suffering on a per mile basis than this event.
Evelyn and I started racing around the same time, and we're good friends. After you, darling. We've bike packed together, we've traveled a lot together. Evelyn's always been just very chill, you know. She can smile after a bad day and doesn't really take it too seriously, but she does it because she loves it and she enjoys it.
I mean, I might be laid back in life, but I am very competitive. And once the gun goes off, it's just like putting yourself in that spot where you're breathing through your eyeballs, and there's like nothing else that really satisfies that itch.
Evelyn's a crusher. This style of racing, like, she can definitely throw down, and she makes it look so easy.
Yeah, Evelyn Dung, 2019, she won Crusher and the Tusher, so she's going to be comfortable with some of those harder uphill, you know, and Crusher and Tusher's a lot of climbing. So this final climb.
Well, when I
heard about the Grand Prix, it really boosted some motivation for me as I was contemplating like when to end my career for racing. I guess it has some part in like just providing some good motivation for me this year with, I guess, a different kind of challenge.
I have so much admiration and respect for Rose. She's an extremely hard worker. She's won Leadville twice. If this series would have happened in like 2018, 2019, I think Rose would have waxed all of us.
Sophia, she's in the thick of it, you know? She's in the thick of being famous for her results. She's growing, she's embracing it all, and this is her time.
The last race we did was in lovely Emporia, Kansas, where I became the new queen of gravel.
It's not gonna last forever. I think she feels a bit tired.
My biggest threat at this race, I would say, is Alexis Scarda, but she got COVID. So if she doesn't come here, I just have already such a huge lead. I'm actually looking really good for the series. Take this with Myron. I think Wally's last year, I didn't pre-ride anything of the course, and I still won. So
Ignorance is bliss sometimes.
yeah, but I did this last year. You've never been here before.
Yeah.
Right. I've done this race twice. Cried my first time, said I never was going to do this again, and then won it the second time. Okay, I'm gonna get ready. I'm gonna give this to Myron.
She's great. She's great. She's solid. She's focused and hauling ass.
I mean, I think we all put pressure on ourselves. Like, I've already won 2 of the biggest races in the world.
Oh,
that's
good. Yeah.
The Fuego 80K in Sea Otter, I just put myself.
It's almost
into
80
that
minutes
hill when
at SST.
I tried to
This is
pass
no fun.
Mo.
No fun, Tima.
And it even looks like Sophia's starting
250,
to struggle.
255, 260, sweet spot for 80 minutes.
Just riding away from the other 2 riders and the entire field here.
I just kind of gave up. And then I crossed the finish line in second, and it just did not sit well with me at all. So for the next 2.5, 3 weeks, like every training ride, I like mentally put myself in that situation, and I'm like, that's the last time.
Stand at 30 seconds.
Like that.
Let's go.
I got into cycling 6 years ago when my coach, Carmen Small, approached me. She saw potential, and she was like, I would like to turn you from a Cat 1 racer to an Olympian in 4 years. And I was like, this woman is like bad shit crazy, but whatever, like let's try it. Every year I just focused on myself, and you can see each year I just level up, level up, level up.
Come on. Finish it. Visualize.
A lot of my friends tell me like, oh, you kind of have this locked up in the bag. I haven't been challenged in the way that I thought I would. I think I am the clear favorite, so it'd be sweet to kind of deliver on that one. Yeah, I think this race, it pays dividends to know how to race it and kind of when to let your efforts go. Like last year, I drilled it up this climb. Being a professional cyclist is never anything that I actually cared for. It was an accidental thing that happened. I never wanted to be an Olympian, and here I am, became an Olympian in Tokyo. I don't really give a shit if I win or not. Like, what I want to know is that I gave the best performance I'm capable of, and to show the hard work and the sacrifice I put in every training ride. And if you beat me, like, good for you, but I'm never going to give up and just kind of let somebody beat me like that ever again.
Race 3 is on us, and just as the name suggests, this race is a real crusher. Climbing from 6,000 feet to 10,000 feet twice, mile for mile, this may very well be the hardest race in the series. Who can guess what the standings will look like after the dust settles from this year's Crusher in the Tusher?
So as of right now, you're currently sitting 17th overall in the Lifetime Grand Prix Series, notably absent from the Unbound 200 race.
In the Lifetime Grand Prix, there are 6 races, and only 5 of them count. So when I started this season, I made the predetermined decision that I would skip Unbound. It would allow me more opportunity to stay fresh and hopefully to be able to really excel in these later races. I
I've been racing Hannah Auto for a long time, like since high school. Like she was in Southern California, I was in NorCal. Even in college, we would race each other at collegiate nationals, and she always kicked my ass. Like, I just, wow, she's Hannah, so good. And then I got training, and then I got really fit. And it's been a long time that Hannah has beaten me. Excited. I'm really curious to see how her season goes. Her dream is in the Olympics. So she's having to balance both schedules. Not worried. I think that is probably her biggest weakness. She doesn't realize how big of a deal Unbound was, and that could have made her career. And I was like, well, I mean, great for me, but sucks for you.
Love it.
Sophia is a formidable competitor. She's always been very strong mentally and physically, and she's obviously on a high point right now. When Sophia won, she was behind at the top of this climb. That said, every reign comes to an end at some point. It's just a matter of when.
Leah Davidson and Casey Armstrong are not coming. It's just sad. Like there's so many people that apply to have this opportunity to race a series, and when people aren't showing up to a race.
Nice.
I don't know. I just feel like the guys are fighting for this way harder than the women are, and if we're gonna fight for equality, we should show up.
All right, I'll grab Evan. Evan! Hold on. Mostly other cars.
That is a good tire.
Sophia is so pragmatic with how she thinks about things. I think she's pretty unfazed, or at least she seems that way. But she's really like matter of fact. If she doesn't win, she'll know exactly why, and then she'll fix it for the next race and probably win that one.
Yeah.
Shall we? Hour and a half? Okay, wow. Okay. I have this theory that I'm only fast because I have no sense of time and I'm always late to everything. So I just have to go really hard.
That's awesome.
Make it places on time. Oh, now we are gravel racing.
I love the Storm. We are best friends. We met in college. I'm so analytical, where Sarah is just racing in the moment and within the feeling that she has. So she's like willing to take these flyers and suicidal moves. And that, like, actually that intimidates the field more than she probably realizes.
And she's winning! Mountain top finish!
What all kind of training goes into a series like this?
Oh my gosh, I'm the worst person to ask about that. I chose Fort Lewis College. I got a scholarship for academics. I was like infatuated with mountain sports. I did join the Fort Lewis cycling team, and that was definitely one of the best decisions of my life. My junior year, I got on a mountain bike, and I was so insanely bad. No one really taught me how to do it. I just crashed a lot, all the time. I mean, I distinctly remember, because I was 22, when I like went for a mountain bike ride and I didn't crash on just like a chill like loop. And that like really sticks out to me. I'm like just sort of like forced my way through it. I quit racing because I wasn't having fun.
Yeah, right? It looked like a proper,
home from Marathon Mountain Bike Nationals, and he kind of looked at me and was like, "Are you having fun racing?"
Have you watched this, Timo? It is really good. If you haven't.
No.
And YouTube Lifetime Grand Prix, of course. It's got a 6-episode series of all the races from April to September.
Feeling like very much a loss of identity.
I'm trying to keep that idea of that proper gravel feel
go through at some
and
point.
enjoying that ride,
and then I started
and not get caught up in
and I don't know,
finishing and
going and riding with my
that sort of thing. So
we
yeah,
would do hard rides.
That was what Sunday was all about, just
and I
have
was
a good time.
challenged by just the
Yeah.
physicality of it, but
Yeah,
no
take a
one
look at it.
cared if you ever finished anything except for yourself.
Thanks for joining in, man.
And so I think that was sort of starting
It's been a bit
to
quiet for the
crack
last 90
open
minutes.
That endurance thing for me.
I've been riding a little bit later these days.
We were like cleaning out
starting work a little later,
things, and I
so
found
not
this
as
little
early.
box of memories. Wrote down all my goals
Yeah,
for life.
bikes. Yeah.
And one of them was
I'm trying to keep that,
become
man.
a professional mountain biker.
So, alright, man. I got about a minute to go. You have a good day. I'll be signing off.
Showing me
I'll be back again
all these
Thursday,
other types
a little bit
of
later in the day.
riding and like
Alright,
racing.
thanks for joining in, everybody.
As cheesy as it sounds, like I was able to like find the joy in bike racing.
I'll catch everybody on the next live stream, yeah? Looking good there on 30 Reiver. Alright. Peace.